Good morning to all. Today I am going to discuss a chapter from Honeycomb for class 7. The title of the chapter is Fire, Friend and Foe. Foe means an enemy. So students, let's read the chapter and we would know after reading it whether the fire is our friend and how it is our foe. Students, according to first paragraph, it is clearly described that early man hadn't knowledge about fire because he invented the fire. But it doesn't mean he was unaware about examples of fire. He saw the fire in a natural form, in the form of lightning, volcanoes. He knew very well that the fire was powerful and dangerous, and he was always frightened of these natural examples of fire. In this paragraph, it is clearly described that the fire is the result of a chemical reaction. Which type of reaction? You know very well, for the chemical reaction, 2 or 3 things are required. When they combine, then result occurs, and same happens with fire. When the oxygen in the air, we know very well that oxygen is available in the air, combines means unites with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, then a chemical reaction takes place. And what is the result of this chemical reaction? Yes, energy in the form of heat and light is released after this process. So, this is called fire. Now, this one question would arise in our mind that what things are needed to make fire? So, students, fuel, oxygen and heat. These 3 things are required to make a fire. Wood, coal, cooking gas, petrol, these are some examples of fuel. And we know very well that oxygen comes from air. That is why when we blow on smoldering paper, it often bursts into flame. The third things needed to make a fire is heat. It means अगर ऑक्सीजन भी अवेलेबल है, फ्यूल भी अवेलेबल है, बट हीट अवेलेबल नहीं है, तो then we are unable to generate the fire. So fuel and oxygen do not make fire by themselves. Next one is important, that is the flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel. So what is that flash point? Students, you must have knowledge that every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. हर fuel का अपना particular temperature होता है. I am just giving the examples of 2 things. For example, a match box, जिसे माचिस की डिबिया बोलते हैं. You can lit the fire, generate the fire just by a single blow when we take a match and rub it on its core surface. But for burning a tree, we are required, for example, petrochemicals to generate the fire. So students, next there is told that fire is a good servant but a bad master. How? जब तक फायर हमारे कंट्रोल में है तो तब तक क्या है ये गुड सर्वेंट, बट व्हेन इट इज अनकंट्रोल्ड तो उस व्हाट हैपन, इट बिकम्स अ बैड मास्टर. It only means that fire is useful as long as it is kept under control. So we can say that fire is a good servant. There are many uses of fire. What are the uses? We use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter, to generate electricity. But on the other hand, if fire gets out of control, it can be dangerous. Every year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Maybe natural fire, maybe due to short circuit. And these type of incidents are normally happen during the days of Diwali. Vast areas of forest are destroyed and hundreds of people are killed or injured in the fire. So students, next thing is that if three things are required, are needed to start a fire, then what things are needed for burning is taken away. Maybe to put out the fire, क्या चीज़ें चाहिए कि फायर को हम बुझा भी सकें. अगर फायर आग को जलाने के लिए हमें ये चीज़ें चाहिए, तो आग को बुझाने के लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए? What should we do? There are so many methods. For example, by taking away the fuel. If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. We often let a fire die out simply by not adding more fuel to it. Second way is by preventing oxygen from reaching it. We know very well that oxygen is a supporter of fire. If we cut the supply of oxygen, then fire cannot be generated. No supply of oxygen means no fire. Small fires can be put out or smothered with a damp blanket or a sack. Sack mean यहाँ पे gunny bags, we can say that. This stops oxygen reaching the burning material. Third way of putting out a fire is to remove the heat. How? If the temperature can be brought down. As we earlier discussed that every fuel has its flash point where it starts to burn. अगर हम उस टेम्परेचर को brought down means down कम कर देंगे below the flash point, तो what happened? The fuel stops burning. You blow on a burning matchsticks or a candle to put it out. अगर हम एक फूंक मार के बुझाते हैं एक माचिस को या किसी जलती हुई मोमबत्ती को, तो व्हाट हैपन, हम क्या करते हैं बच्चे, हम उसका फ्लैश पॉइंट या उसके टेम्परेचर को डाउन कर देते हैं, कम कर देते हैं. We remove the hot air around the flame, bringing down its temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. You can perform this activity at home also. This is a scientific and very simple experiment which we can perform at our home. Sometimes there are other methods. Sometimes water is sprayed on a fire. But why? Because it absorbs heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off supply of oxygen, and this way the fire is extinguished. आग को बुझा दिया जाता है. But all types of fires cannot be put out with water. हर तरह की आग को पानी की मदद से हम लोग बुझा नहीं सकते. For example, if the water is sprayed onto an oil fire, the oil will float to the top of the water because oil की नेचर क्या है? ऑयल पानी के ऊपर तैरना स्टार्ट कर देगा, फ्लो करना स्टार्ट कर देगा एंड कंटिन्यू टू बर्न. दिस कैन बी वेरी डेंजरस बिकॉज वाटर कैन फ्लो क्विकली, कैरिंग द बर्निंग ऑयल विद इट, and spreading the fire. So water should also not be used on fires caused by the electrical appliances. जब शॉर्ट सर्किट होता है या किसी इलेक्ट्रिकल अप्लायंसेस के कारण आग लगती है, in that case we must not use water. We must not spray water. Why? The person spraying water might receive an electrical shock and be killed. A carbon dioxide extinguishers, पता उस केस में आग हम कैसे बुझा सकते हैं? A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight an electrical fire. So the question would arise in your mind, what is fire extinguisher? Fire extinguisher is a mixture of carbon dioxide gas that comes in cylinder, and it is installed by every office, school and public places. Also it is available, we can see this fire extinguishers in petrol pump also. So students, we know very well that fire cause damage. So there are so many ways to prevent the fire, but what happened when there were no firemen, when there were no fire brigade, no fire extinguisher? What would people do during that period? When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. People formed human chains and passed buckets of water from a well or a pond to the blaze. Now there are laws about the building constructions. लेकिन अब क्या है? With the passage of time, so many laws have been passed for constructing a building. We know very well that before starting a construction, we have to take NOC certificates from Municipal Corporation Office, that is called No Objection Certificate. अब ये NOC ensure क्या करता है? Which ensure that the space is left between buildings to reduce the fire risk. It means buildings बनाते हुए दो घर या दो फ्लैट या दो बिल्डिंग्स जो हैं बेटे, वो कभी भी बिल्कुल साथ सट के एडजस्टेंट मैनर में नहीं बनाई जाती. एवरी न्यू बिल्डिंग्स, स्पेशली अ पब्लिक प्लेस, मस्ट एंश्योर ऑब्जर्वेंस ऑफ फायर प्रिवेंशन नॉर्म्स. Bands of fire fighting workers with special equipment known as fire brigades are there to put out fires. अब फायर फाइटर्स आर हाईली ट्रेन. अब ये फायर फाइटर्स क्या होते हैं? जो फायर के विच फाइट्स विद फायर, विच आर हेल्पफुल फॉर पब्लिक टू एक्सटिंग्विश द फायर. हु आर दे? दे आर हाईली ट्रेन्ड पीपल. They possess many skills. They cut off electricity supply, knock down dangerous walls, spray water and other materials to bring fire under control. They are also trained in first aid. We know very well that they are master of so many skills. अब first aid के लिए वो trained क्यों होते हैं? Because they can help people suffering from burns or from the effects of smoke. So at last, not least, we can say that fire is indeed a friend, but as we know very well that it can be dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. So after reading the chapter, students, you are able to realize the importance of fire extinguisher. Next, how the fire produced, how can we extinguish the fire, and what are the rules to construct a building. Thank you. Have a nice day.